Rishi Sunak officially becomes the British Prime Minister after being asked to form the government by King Charles III. Rishi currently meeting King Charles III in the Buckingham Palace. Visuals are on your screen. Several people gathered outside the palace to catch the first British PM of colour in history. Well, this year has been a tough one. UK has seen two prime ministers and Rishi Sunak becomes the third one. The youngest British prime minister in history. We have Srinjoy joining us from the Times Network to share more details.
Sunak has called on the Prime Minister has called on King Charles III, the British monarch, and he has been appointed as Prime Minister of Britain. Of course, he is one of the youngest Prime Ministers in recent years. He is also the first man of color. And also, it has to be said, on the 75th anniversary of India's independence, here is an Indian-born man who becomes Prime Minister of Britain. So it's a big moment for India in some senses. It is, of course, a big moment for Rishi Sunak and Britain. And Rishi Sunak has a lot to do because the economy is in very bad shape. The pound has been dropping. The economy is not moving ahead. It's still very sluggish. And to add to that, you have very high energy prices. Inflation is also high as far as other areas are concerned. So he has been Chancellor of the Exchequer. He knows his finances. He knows his economics. He has to get to work very quickly and restore Britain's economic position.
Yes, Srinjoy, if I can ask you, well, yes, he is joining, he's got this position in very turbulent times, especially if we look at it financially, and the economy, as you said, is pretty down. But he is expected to come in and cut funding for public services, slash workers' wages. So in this kind of a situation, of course, he was a favourite in the Conservative Party, and he managed to beat his contestant Penny Mordaunt and win this, get to this position. But do you think he has a lot on his plate, and will he continue to be a favourite if he comes up with these kind of economic plans that he needs to fix the economy?
If he cuts workers' wages, if he slashes jobs, Rishi Sunak should know that in a year, and a little more than a year, the British parliamentary elections are coming up. Already the party, the Conservative Party, is about 20 points behind the Labour Party. So if he actually slashes jobs and also cuts wages, then it will be a landslide for the Labour Party. So he has to be very careful because the future of the Conservative Party is at stake, at least for the next 5 or 10 years. And if they lose very badly this time, it will be very difficult to come back. So all these things would be on his mind. He will have to be cut a corner somewhere, but we don't know what exactly he will do. If he does cut wages and things, it could have a political effect, and that is not something that the Conservatives would want. So what exactly he will do, we have to see. But one thing he will certainly not do is cut taxes for the wealthy, as Liz Truss has done.
Right, absolutely. Srinjoy, if I can ask you one more question. Well, yes, Liz Truss had it tough, from being I am not a quitter to I am resigning over, within 24 hours. Yes, she was not a favourite. But Rishi Sunak actually comes in at a time where he's a party favourite. He's a people favourite. I'm sure if we do appeasement ratings, he is one of those that people are very excited to have. He, of course, is scripting history. The first a man of colour to be UK Prime Minister. So a lot on his shoulders, yes. But how how much importance do you think he's going to give to fixing the economy, which I think should be priority on his list over, winning the parliament elections?
Yes, of course. Both are very important. He has to do something for the economy. If the economy begins to look up, then he has a better chance in the next elections. He will go into the next elections as prime minister, most probably, at least if it continues. So if he fixes the economy, clearly he will have a better chance in the next elections. So that would be his primary task. Undoubtedly, there's no dispute about that. That is his primary task. But as a Conservative Party leader, he also has to ensure that his party is in a position to win elections. If they get hammered, the Conservatives get hammered in the next elections, then what happens? Then the Conservatives are not going to come back for 10 years. So these are things that will have to be kept in mind. I'm sure he is keeping in mind the economic situation, the political situation, the international situation. Some of these things are actually beyond him. The fact that there is a war with Ukraine and Russia is not something that Britain can do much about. But that has created a ripple effect. It has led to higher energy prices. That's not something anyone can do anything about. So particularly not Rishi Sunak. But he will have to manage according to the circumstances, according to the situation, and we'll have to see what he does, because he has about a year and a half, and he has to move very, very quickly.
Absolutely, Srinjoy. I think a balancing act, we both can agree, is what Rishi Sunak has to do, because on one hand, he has a crumbling economy. How many other media reports have been saying that in the entire tray of difficulties since the Second World War, this is probably one of the toughest times that UK is facing. So he does have to do some sort of a balancing act, but we